actually had a private bathroom. In DC, that's like, the buildings are very old. So if you have an office that has a bathroom, you've made it.
Yeah.
You've made it, right?
How do you leave that?
How you made it, right? And so I used to say it was only several ways that people left those positions. One, retire, because they're usually pretty old. Two, die, because they're older. Or three, get arrested. So my predecessor had gotten arrested. So
let's talk tales. With a bachelor's from Cornell University and MPA from the University of Southern California, today's Tales with Taylor guest is an extraordinary business leader and author with many firsts and significant accomplishments in the government, academic, nonprofit, and for-profit sectors. She had a 29-year career with the Federal Bureau of Land Management, progressing from being the first woman professional the agency hired to the top career professional as deputy director with 200 offices, 10,000 employees, and $1 billion budget. She is currently the CEO of the World's Best Connectors, a virtual community for C-suite executives, and Denise Meridith Consultants Incorporated, a public and community affairs S-corporation headquartered in Phoenix, Arizona. It's Denise Meridith. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, I'm
and your
thrilled to be here.
favorite cocktail here is a Bloody Mary.
Thank
so
you.
Cheers.
This is service. Great service.
Very good.
That's great. That's
Tell me the tale of like, how do you go from being in such a high level in an executive position to saying, forget it all, forget the structure and the stability, let me go out on my own?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I was there in Washington, and Washington is nirvana for most politically oriented people, right? They would kill to get there. So I was deputy director, and like I said, as you mentioned, and I joke because I actually had a private bathroom. In DC, that's like, the buildings are very old. So if you have an office that has a bathroom, you've made it.
Yeah.
You've made it, right?
How do you leave that?
How you made it, right? And so I used to say it was only several ways that people left those positions. One, retire, because they're usually pretty old. Two, die, because they're older. Or three, get arrested. So my predecessor had gotten arrested. So taken out in handcuffs. Anyway, so I was there, and I'm very, I guess, oriented in quality of life. When I was young, I was the youngest person that the Bureau ever hired at the time that they hired me. And I like nice weather, okay? And DC is my favorite big city. It has everything. It has great food. It's beautiful. But I think you should be happy 8 hours a day.
Agreed. Someone from the East Coast originally, DC is very gray and cold. And,
yes. Yeah, so winters became just ominous. So and the Clinton administration was fine. He was a little talky for me. He talks a lot. And I'm more action oriented, a little less talk. So, and also that you don't make decisions in DC. It's talk. That's what it's about. It's debating issues. Now they don't even do that anymore. But anyways, debating issues, hobnobbing with people, and all that stuff was great. Great parties, most wonderful parties, and the ambassador parties and stuff are just incredible. But I like to do things. I'm action-oriented, bottom-line-oriented, want to get things done. So I talked about leaving, and they were like, what?
Are you getting arrested?
Quality of life, what's that? Right? And so they said, okay. So I had a choice of California or Arizona. So I came to Arizona because I said I wanted to move somewhere where the earth wasn't still moving. So
Arizona. And what year was this, just to give us some context?
This was 1995.
1995. Okay.
Yep.
So Arizona was still like kind of a baby when you
really
think
town.
about it. Yeah, it was little.
It was a little town, but I knew about it because it's a great resort town, and me and my ex used to come here on vacation and blah blah blah, and it was sunny all the time. And Bruce Babbitt was my boss there in Washington. He was head of the Department of Interior, so he thought I should go to Arizona. He said they needed some change agents to move things along, so I came. and best decision I ever made coming here. And because it was a small town, you could get a lot of things done. Any idea was a new idea. And if you wanted to do it, just go ahead and do it. As far enough from DC, they didn't care. Want to do something, do something. So wound up designating 4 national monuments and got the Arizona Trail designation started. Came up with some nice off-road vehicle areas for people. But my main goal was to clean up recreation here, because I would ask people, where do you go camping? California, Utah, Colorado. Nobody said Arizona. The state had no money here, so they couldn't maintain things, clean up things. It was a mess. I had good relations with military. My dad was Army, career Army, but we were not at war or anything then. So they were looking for things to do. So I made partnerships with them. So they started to redo things, rebuilding visitor centers. We call them SSTs, building sweet smelling toilets.
Sweet smelling toilets.
They would build, military, you have to have a different name for it. So it's SSTs, right? They were building SSTs. So they helped me, really, literally, and Bureau clean up Arizona. So now people do go camping. And
and actually come to our state to go.
Yes. And that was a little hurdle to get over, because government was not popular, big government. And I think about the southern part of the state in particular, Sierra Vista, they were not really happy about government. And then we designated an international bird area, which they were upset for like 2 seconds until everybody started to come from all over the world to Sierra Vista. So things worked out really well. I had good relationships with 99.9% of the ranchers here and that. But again, me, sort of type A, it's a good thing they hadn't diagnosed ADD when I was a kid, because I would have been drugged up all the time. So 7 years having fun, doing all this stuff. I thought, well, I don't know. I put all the right people in charge. Everybody else is doing fine. Maybe I'll try something different. So sports, obviously I was in charge of a lot of outdoor sports, with the Bureau. But I grew up next to Shea Stadium in New York City, so I was always into baseball. And they opened the stadium, soon after I moved here, so I was excited about that. And then the thoughts came up about a football stadium. And so I thought, well, maybe I can retire. And then they came up with early out. Government used to, and they don't do it anymore because they can't afford it, I assume. But they used to give opportunity. It used to be like every 5 or 7 years where you could leave based on number of years, not age.
Okay.
So guess what?
Nice.
As early as I started, 2 weeks out of college, right? Had a lot of years and no age. So flew the coop, and it was 29 years. They said, can't you go one more year? No. Got to go now. So I made the switch to Denise Meridith Consultants. It's still pretty popular in town. And it was doing similar stuff, public relations, sports types things. And so that was the switch. And I didn't go back to government. I've worked closely with governments here, work really closely with the cities and the state and the county. But it excites me. Private industry excites me. And right now, I think private industry is the answer. I used to say government, because government used to be the answer. We used to be the innovator. We used to be the ones that invented things, the ones that, that's all been outsourced.
Now it's all like the private sector.
Yeah, it's been all outsourced to everybody. So I think government really is going to be what a private industry is going to be what saves us, actually, whether it's innovations or health, democracy, whatever. I think private industry is really where it's at. So my goal now is to, and I'm old now, so my legacy I hope to leave is to help other people be successful in business.
Excellent, excellent. So was baseball your first sports love, or was it?
Yes.
I wore my New York Giants Eli Manning heart shirt to remind myself of better Giants years.
Oh yeah, there weren't too many of those. Anyway,
hey, he gave me 2 Super Bowls in my lifetime.
That's true.
And really,
That's
technically, I've been kind of part of 3. Phil Sims did, but I was a baby, so I can't really quite remember that one.
Well, we had one Jets. Well, we had one Jets World Series, and that was it. And I was telling somebody the other day, it's why, and I love doing the sports here, but it's very hard to be a sports fan in Arizona.
When I went to a Giants game a couple years ago, and I was a little nervous being on the away side, and no, it was a sea of blue.
Right, exactly. It's just I don't know. One, of course, and people use the excuse that people come from other places, but I think people will adopt their home place too.
Yeah.
But we just haven't.
Yeah, like I
clicked.
adopted the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
I adopted the Suns.
Right.
But when it comes to football, it's too deep.
It's too deep.
It's just too deep.
Well, I finally gave up on Washington, team who's had many names. But anyway,
yes.
But in DC, Washington was everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Sunday afternoon in DC, you could go shopping, do anything you want. There's nobody on the streets.
That's
no
true.
cars, no nothing. Everybody's watching the game. And then Monday, everybody's talking about the game. So that was good. I had to wait. I remember I was on waiting lists forever to get tickets, season tickets. And then I kept them even after I moved here for quite some number of years because it was so hard to get them. You don't want to give them up. So I did that. But it was, luckily I was there when it was good. So I went to 2 Super Bowls with Washington. I used to hang out with the team a lot. The stadium was pretty much sold out. So about one time I got invited to go with the team. They said, well, we can't get you seats, but why don't you grab some friends and come with us? So we went up to Philadelphia, in which we were given instructions ahead of time. Okay, go. Do not wear.
Right, exactly. Blend in with the crowd as much as possible.
Yes, do not wear anything. Washington. Do not cheer. Do not just sit there and watch the game. Watch the game. So we did that. It's funny. It shows how time has changed and how we were literally either at the game, listening to the game on the radio, or watching a TV every game. Mm-hmm. And now you think back, how do you do that? But in the past, we all had leisure time. Mm-hmm. This is like something that we don't have anymore. But, whatever your office hours ended, so did your work.
Not anymore so much.
Was no cell phones, no blah, 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 no internet, whatever. And I lived in Vegas. It was a lot of fun because, Bureau of Land Management is an outdoorsy, farmy kind of place. So they start early and then we'd be done like 3:30. Mm-hmm. Office closes. So, go home, have a nap, take a nap, get up, go play in Las Vegas, right? and it was because you had nothing to do until the next day in the morning. Yep. And so it was, it's amazing when you think about how life has changed.
Especially in the world of sports, we've seen it change so much from when you weren't considered really a professional until you were out of college. But now we're seeing that even children, I'm just going to say they're children, are getting paid professional levels. So I know you definitely have a hand in that. So tell me a little bit more about Project NILO and more specifically, what parents can do and resources for parents.
Okay, I'm glad you asked. Yes, I sitting around during pandemic, had a lot of time to think, but also evidently the NCAA also had a lot of time to think. Mm-hmm. So they came up with this idea to finally pay students, which I've always been in favor of. Okay,
that's definitely been a debate for many years because the amount of money, especially when it comes to college football, that they make, and then the students get a scholarship to school, which is something that should be valued.
Right.
Beyond that,
but it's always been very controversial, and then suddenly it was just like, bam, okay,
like overnight, and
then everyone was like, what? But there was nothing. There was no policy. There was no regs. We're a government-oriented system and life here, and there was nothing. It was just like it's okay. So people sort of freaked out, and it just sort of went haywire, and it's been sort of haywire since that time. Now they're starting to tighten up. So now they're coming out with rules. It's like, it's sort of late. But anyway, better late than never.
Yeah.
But what I was
I guess.
yeah, what I was looking at it and seeing, everybody's talking about what school is outbidding what school and what coaches. I'm thinking, aren't there kids in here somewhere? We need to talk about kids. So I decided, World's Best Connectors, we do a lot of different projects. So I thought, well, why don't we focus on the kids? Like, what do they need to know about all of this? And not necessarily about NIL. They need to know about NIL. But when you look at the statistics.
And for those who maybe don't know what that means, what is
I'm sorry.
NIL?
Yeah.
No problem.
I forget. Yeah, name, image, and likeness. And it's
that means they're allowed to get paid for. So if my son does a pizza commercial down the street, he's legally now allowed to get paid for that.
Right.
I think because of this too, they reinstated Reggie Bush's
yes,
Heisman
exactly.
trophy.
Yeah, because they hurt a lot of kids along the way with stupid stuff. Because to me, it's not the kids' fault.
No.
They're being tempted by these folks.
And that was a scenario where obviously he won a Heisman. He did good on the field, good in the classroom.
Yep. So now that they're going back trying to correct some of those, but a lot of people were hurt along the way to get there. But then now it's sort of what was illegal is now legal. So it's very confusing, actually, still. So I decided, well, we'll help kids that get in. And that's the other thing. It's sort of exaggerated. People see LeBron's son get $7.5 million. Okay. The other kid got $5 for signing a pizza box.
Right,
okay,
exactly.
Right? $5 per box for signing a pizza box.
And I think maybe that's why name, image, likeness is first. It's not likeness, image, name. It's not limb.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's become, I don't know, it's just real complicated for the schools. The schools are freaked out because they don't know what to do.
Well, now the trade portal too is a
the trade. Mess. Yeah, all that sort of came as like the perfect storm. All these things coming at once. So now you have kids going to the highest bidder for that year. So now they're talking about you have to stay, blah, blah, blah. It's all this stuff that should have been worked out ahead of time. Before, or kids accepting an offer from somebody, going to that school, and then the school goes, well, we didn't offer it to you. We don't know who that is. You know what I mean? That type of thing. We've had some of those incidents where the kid goes, and then they didn't get the money.
Oh, so like an agent is saying you should go to this school, but the school never fully authorized. Yeah,
and the school isn't authorized anyway. It could be just the collective that works there made the offer.
Interesting.
The school is not responsible.
Interesting.
For that. So you have those issues going on and lawsuits and whatever happening at that. So so I decided, brush away all that. We'll work with any student, any sport, any school.
Okay.
NIL was also very concentrated, mainly football, because that's where the money is. They sprinkle a few women in there, Simone, Caitlin.
Yeah, right.
It's just a few women in there, but it's basically men football players. And I think it should be broader than that as far as the money coming out.
Yeah, but historically it's been like that. You look at the booster clubs and where those monies are going.
Yeah, so it's going to stay that way. So we're helping any student, any sport. Because you think about Olympic athletes, how much time and effort through the years they put into it. You get a gold medal in javelin. Yeah, and?
Yeah. You still better be at work at your other job tomorrow.
So what we're doing with, and we call it NILO, so we're adding ownership to NIL. And I was on another podcast recently that said I want the kids not just to be able to accept checks, but we want them to be the ones to be able to sign checks. Okay, they have their own businesses. So what we're going to be working with them on is what kinds of businesses are out there. They're very, centered, focused on whatever sport they're in. They don't know all the opportunities going on. Cornell University, who I still do a lot with, they've almost gotten away from asking, what's your major?
Wow.
It's more what's your interest or whatever, because kids don't know until they get there. And then it's like, oh my God, I didn't know you could be an entomologist. What is that? That sounds pretty good. Yeah. So just kids don't know all the variety that's available now. So we'll talk to them. There are some industries that are more amenable to athletes, real estate, car dealerships, whatever, some retail, modeling agencies, whatever. We'll but we'll focus on really we'll introduce them, but what do you want to do? And so we're going to, this is where the parents come in. We're going to work with the parents as well. So we have 2 programs. One is for the students. So we'll talk about different businesses, how to brand yourself, how not to smoke the bong on Facebook.
Yes.
Okay. Little things like that, little hints, right?
Don't flash a gun.
Yeah, right.
Song.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Especially in the airport. Not a good guy there, right? No. So we'll go through that with them. And fashion has become a big thing now. So I'm going to involve there are some of the key fashion people here in town on that, helping them get a style. What is the image? They all have different. Some want to go, Western. Some want to go
Everyone has a brand now. It's what's
whatever.
your brand? Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll help them with that. We'll help them how to write a business plan. Okay. How to present a business plan, which is almost as good as or as difficult as how to write a business plan and whatever. And at the end of this several month program, and it's all online, so that's how we can reach any person in any school. We have at the end, they'll get an opportunity to shadow a CEO or work for a company just remotely or whatever. So they'll get a little bit of
exposure,
exposure. Hopefully in the field that they talked about. And at the end, we'll help them get their LLC.
Okay.
Or maybe they want a foundation. We have to think about the nonprofits as well, whatever. So my goal is that they leave with something besides their picture in a yearbook. How I describe it. Because a lot of them, that's all they get.
Yeah.
They don't get a lot of, yes, they got a scholarship to be there at school. And I might cover the room and stuff, but and I taught at the university level. I've taught sports, and they're not in class, and it's not their fault. They've got to practice. They got to go on trips and stuff like that. So with this, at least I'll have something to take home. And what I really foresee is them going home and hiring their friends instead of just sitting around drinking beer or hanging out, right? Actually have a business that they can hire their friends, that they can grow the community, help grow the community that they're from. And so I'm excited. So my goal is 1,000. We want to create 1,000 new business leaders.
1,000 new business leaders. And you mentioned that there was a program for the parents. So
yes.
What is it that the parents can do? The
parents, they're very instrumental for and against it happening, a kid's success. A very important part of kids' success. But they need some training. They don't know anything about business mostly either. So we'll go into a little more depth with the parents about financing, about the legal issues, about family issues, health of the athlete themselves. Now finally mental health is getting some attention, right? Nobody talked about that in the past. So we're going to talk about that and what kinds of things you can do about it. It could be family issues. You have one kid getting all the attention. Is that working? It may, because the other kids are enjoying it, or it may not.
Right.
So how do you deal with those psychological issues in the family? How to set up a family business. We'll work with the families on that too as well. So I'm excited about that, being maybe because I'm older, but I think it's really important. We're going to have, in fact, we've had a series of individual programs which you have been helping us film sort of the topics that we felt were interesting to parents. So the last one was how to set up a family business. So you guys did a wonderful job on setting that up and filming that. It came out really well. Our one that we're going to have, our last one of the year, it would have been about how to deal with the media. Okay.
That's important.
Parents can be a help.
And we have seen on social media how they are a hurt. Sometimes you need to just shut your thumbs, I guess.
Yes.
Shut your thumbs.
So we're going to try to give them some advice. We have Ray Shea, publisher of the Business Journal. He knows a little bit about media. Susan Casper, who's with Arizona Family, be on it. And then we have another new young man who is going to talk about podcasting. Which to me, what you're doing, it's a whole new field, right? It's a whole new field. So he's going to talk about that and other types of things that the younger people may relate a little bit too.
And it's been a great way for people to have a platform.
Yes.
We've seen from the Kelsey brothers, Jason, he's getting ready to retire. They start a podcast, and now look at them. They're like on every single commercial and cereal box.
I know. So Mr. Alexander, he's going to do that. He's a young guy, I don't know. But I like him.
Nice.
Very just forward thinking, which is one thing we have to help kids with now. Mm-hmm. What is the future going to be, and how do you need to prepare for it? It's very different. Mom is coming along. You sort of went along. I mean, you could have ideas, and I'm famous for busting barricades and breaking glass ceilings and stuff. So a lot of that is done. So once that is done, okay, what next? What do you do? Now you have more opportunities. Mm-hmm. So a lot of decision making goes into that. And decision making, when I taught at the university level, my first class was always critical thinking and decision making. It didn't matter what subject I'm teaching because they're not as required to know that now. And there was some wonderful information out. There were a couple of stories on TV about Finland. They start in kindergarten talking about critical thinking. Kids in kindergarten. Yeah. They're considered the best education program in the world. Okay. And you look at, they start with languages in kindergarten, different languages. So I'm thinking, boy, what we could learn from this. But the languages, I don't think we'll ever get Americans to
we'll see.
buy into that. But the critical thinking part would be good. Teaching the kids how to say what fake news is, how to determine what's fake and what's real, how to do your own research.
That's seeming to be becoming more important these days, especially in a world of AI where it's getting harder to even truly detect what's real and fake. But the series for parents, it's called the Wish I Had Known. Wish I Had Known. So from the interviews and the episodes you've already done, what would you say if you could just tell a parent like one biggest tip? Like what would be the one that you would say every parent should definitely implement and take away?
I think is seeking out the information. Okay, if they don't know really what to look for, we will help with that. I was saying the end result of what I can do, because I was asked that this morning, so what can you do? What do you want to do? My goal is to reduce TMS. And they go, what's that? Yeah, and I go, time, money, and stress.
Okay, I was going to guess. Yeah,
time, money, and stress. Because those are the biggest things that are
so for the parent to reduce their time and their money spent and then their stress. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And those are the three biggest pressures, I think, on parents these days. And it's getting worse, not better. And that's the other thing. NIL, I mean, like I said, it's wonderful. I've been in favor of people getting paid, but it's not a panacea. It's not going to solve everybody's problem.
Yeah. Not just like entering the NFL, the percentage of, not everyone's going to get an NIL deal. But as someone who's kind of entering that sports world, my son's 5 and we're starting to do baseball. But my goodness, the amount of time between practice and games and traveling and then
uniforms. And these kids are growing a new uniform every year.
Uniforms and gloves and mitts and hats and the bats. I'm shocked how expensive a bat is.
Yeah, it's and people don't think about it. So I think it's the joy that you can get out of having a student athlete is tremendous. Yeah. Okay, but you also have to think about the how to get it done more effectively and more efficiently, and or else it becomes a burden.
Yeah.
And stressful and can lead up to all kinds of negative things going on. So that's sort of my goal and it's a unit. And that's the other thing too. So like the first episode or whatever, the first class that we're going to do with parents is goal setting. Does your kid want to do the same thing?
What time should a parent join this class? Like, should it be my student is a varsity player in high school, or do I do it? I see potential in middle school, or do you wait till college? At what point is it I should actually learn more and take these classes?
Yeah, and I put a lot of thought into that. And what I decided On the students, we're working with college students because that's the key time when.
So like when they're actually in it. In the
so
moment.
we're doing high school last year, because they're about to go. So senior year of high school.
And normally they're already declared by senior year. Anyways,
So they have, you can really plan on what you're doing through like third year in college.
Okay.
On the parent side, any age, because once I started to research it, gymnastics starts at 4 years old. 4 years old. Okay. That pretty much covers any age, right?
Yeah.
I think Little League is 5. You can start at 5.
Yeah. My son, he's been doing Little League. And he's 5.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think the information, it may be
6.
slightly different, but you're going to need it. The same information is going to be needed by everyone. The earlier you start, the better, because if you get up towards high school and senior year, and it's tough to decide.
And depending on the sport, you might get your letter pretty early. We've done many interviews with professional athletes through the Chandler Sports Hall of Fame series. And the number of baseball athletes, I got my letter when I was in 9th grade. I got my letter in 10th. They're getting these letters very early. Soccer is even early.
Yeah, right.
Like there's 10, 12-year-olds getting
exactly,
letters.
which is something. Yeah, and I think it's exciting and wonderful, but it's also trying and stressful. But we're going to try to eliminate some of that because the more knowledge you have. And Jerry Colangelo was our first guest on the show, and I asked him what his recommendation is. Get the education, get educated about sports and what's involved and what you need to know. And that's why he recommended the program. That's why he's supporting the program that we're doing. So I think it's going to be, I'm super excited about it because we have an additional piece that's going to sort of link those together. We have a 24/7 television network called NIL Media, in which we'll be able to sort of highlight the kids. Because it's all about college athletics. And it's fascinating because you would think, there must be a bunch of programs like that out there. No. ESPN, I always say to people, when do you hear about college basketball? March Madness?
Yeah.
Yes, that's when ESPN has it. Otherwise, maybe not so much, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Olympics every 4 years.
Yep, that's it, yeah.
In between, we don't hear a lot about that. So we're going to cover all that stuff all the time. So it'll be really different. We got some big sponsors that are excited about it. We've got, obviously, parents are going to be excited about it. And athletes, so it's just opening another opportunity for kids and their parents to both gain knowledge and get publicity that they need to go to that next level. Because right now, too, even NIL, they know of a few schools. These are the people that have money. They know of a few schools. It just really stunned me when earlier this year. And I used to do a lot of work with historically Black colleges when I was on the East Coast, where most of them are. But they came out and they had a big event here this year. And it stunned me to learn that only one professional NBA player had gone to an HBCU.
Oh, wow.
That's insane.
Yeah.
The talent that must exist on historically Black colleges throughout the United States. And one person makes it. And it's because they're not looking at, there are a few colleges that they're going to focus on, right? So we're hoping this will raise the visibility of a lot of kids in a lot of places. So it's going to help the coaches too. It's going to help the coaches and teams that are scouting to see, Joe Blow School, I hadn't heard of that, but that kid's like really good. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, it shouldn't necessarily matter where you're from.
Yeah,
it's just your skill set.
So we're trying to sort of even out the playing field, so to speak. Nice. And so I'm excited about it. But the parents one is going to start first. So if people are interested, it's a pretty simple website, wishihadknown.net, N-E-T. And they can go on there and they can see these past episodes that you helped and other people helped us develop. And they can see the kinds, and what I wanted for people just to get a flavor of the kinds of issues that we would be covering. So like I said, we had family business. We had some parents one thing I like about the parents program is we're going to have actual parents help
Yes.
with the parents program as far as speaking and designing the, because they know best what's
And they can
needed.
speak from experience too,
Yeah.
which is excellent.
And I think that's really would be powerful to me to hear another parent talk about it. Because now I think if you asked any parent of an athlete right now, where you get your information from? Internet.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And you can't fully relate that way. Yeah.
Right.
If it's a parent who's had a student athlete, they've gone through that experience. Like I'm never going to have a male OBGYN. They just never gone through the experience. It's just not going to happen.
That's the way I feel about it as well. So it's, or they might say another parent. Okay, but what other parent? Maybe this parent doesn't know either, right?
Yeah.
So we'll give them parents, real parents, but who do know because they've been there.
Yes.
So that'll be, so, but that's going to start up here probably in November. So, which, well, we'll have started by the time we have this program, but we're going to sort of test it out first and then expand it quite a bit. The kids program is the same way. We'll test it out a little bit, but then we'll be having probably eventually how I envision it, we can have like 4 different sessions going a year because we want to sort of stagger them because what kids have to do sport-wise is different. Some of them are too busy to do anything, during certain times. So if we have some staggered
off
classes,
season, depending on what the sport is and so forth.
so they can have an opportunity, a better opportunity to participate. So it's scary in a way and exciting. We also need sponsors. We need sponsors, and a lot of people are talking about it. So you need to step up now. Now is the time to step up and do that. Speakers.
Okay.
I'm not worried about that at all. I had a youth sports nonprofit here in Arizona for 14 years called Linking Sports and Communities, and never had a problem getting a speaker because athletes like to talk to kids. CEOs like to talk to kids, right? Never had a problem getting
And luckily with our
speakers.
beautiful weather, we do have quite a few retiree athletes that come to the state. So yes.
Yes, this is the place.
Yes,
This is definitely the place for it. So we, and we're sort of lucky that way, I think, too. But because we have all that knowledge here, that we could take advantage of. And we're looking forward to working with folks like you, media people. With ASU, it was funny. The most of the interest that we got from ASU was from Cronkite School. Because you have kids that want to be sports announcers and sports writers,
It's amazing when we're trying to interview for people to join our team. The number of people who say like, oh, I want to do something in sports, a sports writer or a sports psychologist or a sport. It's like so sports centric.
Yeah. And Phoenix, that's what they have. Sometimes they don't quite admit it. I know I've been here 30 years. They keep trying to find the hook. We're going to be the biotech capital. We're going to be this. We're going to be that. Right. Yeah. Now we're the chip capital.
Now we're the chip capital. Yes.
We're the chip capital, which is probably true. But really, when you think about it, sports, not too many cities have.
Sadly, we lost.
We lost one. But
we lost the Coyotes. So no hockey, which is very sad.
It was sad. Yeah, they didn't ask me. I could have helped on that. But no. But anyway.
I was hoping that the Fiesta Mall was going to get demolished, become that stadium. I was hoping that was going to be the space.
Yes. There were some, I think, good options, and some. The marketing wasn't real good on that because the resistance. I mean, I think about the resistance to Cardinal Stadium when I was promoting that. People anymore are not going, oh, yeah, let's spend $1 billion on a stadium. They're just not that way anymore. And sometimes the senior people and cities and whatever think it's like the old days when you could just suggest something and people would go along. Now, if anything, they're going to oppose. Yeah. That's the first step. So you got to think about the opposition. And now it's to spend money on stuff like that. Even when you can say, oh, it's not going to be public money.
I know. They would say, oh, it's not going to be tax dollars.
And people don't believe it.
We have it completely raised, and it doesn't matter.
And people don't believe it. No. Yeah. So it takes something special. But I was sad because there is a very, energetic hockey fans here.
Those are some of the most fun games to go to, I feel. You know, it's just the energy of them. But when it was all the way out in Glendale, it was just so far. And so I don't want to drive that far on a Thursday night.
Yeah. And I remember that whole thing. It was sort of a surprise. The surprise was in Glendale. And just, because they have so many games. So it's a combination. A football stadium can be in Glendale. There's only 8 home games.
Exactly. And you're probably going to be on a Sunday. So, that's another thing. It's different. But hockey games, they're all throughout the week. You know, it's like going to a concert. Very rarely is it conveniently on a weekend.
So the first 2 years, they were sold out, me included, in that pack. And then for season tickets. And I was like, oh, no. No, can't do that. And then, management of the team was an issue. So I don't know. Salt Lake is a very good place for them. I think it's a very good place. And to talk about, we can bring them back. Oh, that's hard. That's going to be hard. So we've got 4 strong opportunities. They're not all together yet.
You never know. The Rams went back to LA, so you never know.
That's true.
You never know. So
that is
you gotta
true.
believe.
That's true. Something miraculous can happen. Yes. And our, fan base is changing too. So now you have actually more people that know about hockey coming from Detroit. I mean, I think it's sort of people coming like this direction towards Phoenix. So you got Detroit is big right now. And then Seattle, California will always be, but now Seattle and Washington people are coming big time as well.
Yeah, I personally came from New York, Maryland. I was born in New York, grew up mostly in Maryland, and then my husband, Michigan. So totally.
Yeah. And New York, I'm a New Yorker. Not enough New Yorkers here. I wasn't one New York. They're still going south.
There's quite a few of us. There's a few of us.
There's a few. Most of it, they're still going straight south. Let's get on the road.
That is very true.
Go straight down.
Straight south,
Go down to Florida.
Yeah. Don't need to cross that Mississippi.
No. So it's funny, but I hang out at like Scottsdale Center for the Arts. If you want to meet New Yorkers, there are certain places you just have to go. Jade Palace restaurants, my favorite restaurants. The guy is from New York.
What's your favorite restaurant?
Jade Palace.
Jade Palace. Okay, shout out to Jade Palace.
Jade Palace, yes. They have two restaurants here, and they from New York City, and they do it New York style. And people don't know, but there are different, styles of any kind of cooking, right?
Yeah.
And he told me once 80% of his customers are from New York City.
Oh wow. Interesting. Trying to find that kind of local taste, that little eat. That's interesting.
Now, pizza, that's a little harder here to get real New York pizza.
Have you tried Pizzeria Bianca yet?
Yeah. That's too hoity-toity for me.
I haven't done it yet. I haven't tried it. No. So I'll give a shout out to Venencia's. I like Venencia's.
I just discovered them recently.
Oh, there you go.
They're New York.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Not quite still. Not quite. I don't know if fully say New York pizza. It's a good pizza. But
it's like NYPD. They're close. Not for real. Not for real.
No, it's still not quite.
The closest we can get here. Yeah. So that's good. So I used to love going. And I do a lot of work at Cornell. So I lots of times have to go through New York City. So stop. Pizza.
Continue. Yes.
Or knishes. We don't really have good knishes here. You have to get those in New York. So it's been fun, but this is where I'll be. This is it. This is the last thing. These programs are my last go around because I want to build this legacy. And 1,000 people go, oh, it works 2 ways. 1,000, one, it gets their attention, right? And then they think, well, it's a lot, but then they think that's great.
But it's also doable. It's not an outrageous number.
Yeah.
And so at the end of your days, if there was going to be a book written about you, what would be the title of that tale?
She came, saw, and conquered. I like those old biblical movies. No, but I think it's sort of what I've done. Well, looking at Arizona, again, having been a biologist, the outdoor stuff that we have here and still have as a result. Because national monuments, they're going to be here forever. So those kind of teams, right? Me helping with a stadium. And my name is on the plaque there on the stadium. So I said the only time my name will be on a building. But that's nice. But to think about just the outdoor stuff that we have that's going to be preserved and the endangered species that are going to survive and things like that. So the biologist in me still, well, and so that's what I think is and the fact that I did it nationwide too. I mean, that legacy is, I think, gonna go on forever. But I hope to have given people a lot of fun. People say, "Oh, you're so funny," and I go, "Well, I'm from Brooklyn." Originally, and New York, old comedians used to come from Brooklyn.
Oh yeah,
you have to have a sense of humor with 8 million people, you know. So I do try to bring humor to what I'm doing, and I'm going to be a lot. People see me a lot more. I'm going to be writing a lot more. I've got a couple of books out. I'm going to be writing more books. I'm going to be doing more public speaking. Okay. Mostly, in regards to these programs, but always also what I'd want to do is I say help people regain their mojo.
Okay.
So the pandemic, a lot of people lost their mojo. They're like, this went. A lot of people haven't recovered from it.
Yeah, it's already, and it's because I always feel like there was waves. It was like there was the first wave of COVID, and then the second wave, and it's still around. People are still affected by it.
Yeah, I'm sort of surprised every once in a while. Somebody recently couldn't meet COVID. Oh my God. What's wrong with you? No.
Still get that?
So anyway, but I think, and for that kind of personal counseling, so I do personal executive coaching. I feel that we're losing the baby boomers, we're losing the Gen Xers. They were really upbeat before COVID, before the pandemic, because they had it figured out. You had your hierarchy and, in the office and and a little bit of technology, not a lot, a little bit of technology and make things work smoother. And then they came back to the office after the pandemic, and there's nobody there. And some of them never quite recovered from that. It's because some things actually shut down. Some things had to change. You have all those big office buildings down on Central with not too many people in them. But I think the knowledge is so important that these people have, the knowledge and experience. So for my personal counseling for people, and it's my work with me, I try to help people regain whatever it was that excited them in the first place about a job or an interest or what they were doing. You can have that back, maybe in a different format, a different way. I do little courses on things like hate, because hate is a big word. Everybody hates everything. So I do one on I hate networking.
Okay.
I do one on I hate tech. I do one on I hate millennials.
Oh,
I do.
hurt.
I know. So what I do with those is to get mainly Gen Xers and baby boomers in there, obviously, because they're very into those things, and try to show them the better side of that we need millennials. They're very smart people.
We're very capable people. I think our generation's very adaptable. When you think about some of the things that our generation...
You had the hardest time, right?
We can remember where we were on 9/11.
Yes.
We experienced 2008. We experienced quite a bit.
Yeah. And so
we're hanging in their generation.
Yeah. So you guys did pretty well. You were pretty solemn and mellow about it, but anyway, there was reason to be, right?
I think it's one of those where we've kind of realized if you do not have the full control over it, there's truly no reason to worry about it.
Right.
Mark Mason's book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F, yes, there's some good points to it.
That's about right. So I want to help the people that are beyond that to recognize the talent there. And we're up to alphas now. People don't realize that. People are still on the Gen Z. Guess what? There are Gen Zs that are 29.
Yeah.
Right? That edge of the Gen Zs, right?
That's so true, yeah.
And so we need to get with it, loosen up.
I don't love that the new group's called the Alpha Group. They're already way too self-confident, and then to say that they're the that's a little much.
Yeah, I haven't yet encountered too many of them, but anyway, since I stopped teaching over at ASU and stuff. But I think I like to give people a good time. I like people to have a good time because life is short.
Yeah.
So I tell people you need to be able to play as hard as you work. And so my group, World's Best Connectors, those people know that we're going to be doing fun things as well as helping other people with their businesses. But I just think you have to enjoy life. it's short. Make the most of it. We're way too serious now. People are way too serious. And that concerns me. I'm not into cancel culture. We need comedians.
Yes, and you do like to have fun, because I know whenever there's the Comic-Con things come around, you definitely love to go to those. So
I have a secret side.
That's a secret side. You post it on social media, so it's also
that's true. That's true. People, my 7,000 Facebook friends. But anyway, I do like. Marvel's dying already, so that's sort of interesting. It's fading fast.
What are you? Are you more Marvel or DC? Or?
I'm DC.
DC, yeah.
But they didn't do well with the whole trend. The DC movies were never quite as good. Well, Wonder Woman was great.
At least they got Batman, though.
Yeah,
if you have Batman, you're always going to be a winner.
Batman and Wonder Woman were pretty good, right? Marvel, they just, I think, overdid it.
Yeah.
So their last two movies, sort of sunk. But I still like the image, and people have seen my logo. You see that represented.
Yes, very much so.
But an interesting story with that, I always have stories. My house is a museum. Everything has a story in my house. But when I sent my logo to get done, and I sent it off to get done, and I put a description of what I wanted, and I included my picture in there, and blah, 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 blah. And it came back, and a white guy was in the front.
You're like, excuse me?
And that's what I said. I said, did you not read the information that I got you? Yes, I wanted a white guy. That's no problem.
Right,
no problem
I guess you want diversity.
Yes, right. But that I just thought was symptomatic. That's so symptomatic that automatically the white guy has to be the one in charge. And so we're still being that ballot, because so the other groups I talk to a lot is women's groups, women business owners, because in fact I have a series I'm going to start that's based on hurdles women must hurdle. That was the very first speech that I gave publicly about women's issues in 1985.
Well, and you know how to jump those hurdles, because as we said at the beginning of your bio, you went from the very first in woman hire to running things. So you know the blueprint. And so if people want to obtain that blueprint, you're telling me they can work with you individually, correct? And then on the sports side, so that's totally separate. So you're going to help people who are just business owners.
Right.
Or those who even just are like missing their passion, it sounds like,
exactly,
right?
Yes.
So especially being someone who has been in the C-suite, it sounds like you would also help people who maybe want to get out of that transition.
Yes.
Transition, because you know how to do that.
Yep.
And then as well as parents and athletes.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So I'm busy. I'm
so
going to be busy.
So busy. But how do you have time to have fun?
I don't know. I just, I don't sleep much. So I don't need about 4 hours is what I need every night. So I used to tell people I'm a vampire when I used to try to jerk people around, and they'd sort of look at you. Is she serious?
Can you eat some garlic bread really quick just to make sure?
It's like because people, a lot of people haven't encountered Black women. This sounds strange, but a lot of they've never worked with one, for one.
Oh, that's odd.
About one, right? And
I guess you're also from the East Coast. I'm like, that's weird. How do you not?
Oh, yeah. Well, when it came to Arizona, it was pretty interesting here.
In 95, I can imagine.
And so it's like, and that's one thing I'm very excited about younger generation now. Worry about that kind of stuff. But it was like, so, I'd say it just to see how they react, because well, she trying to be serious or right? It's just a joke or whatever. But as I used to say, I was a vampire. I don't need but sleep, and I'm up at night. But then people start to get like, you else at 3 a.m. Yes. And then they really start to wonder.
Well, a little concerned. Like, hey, did you wake up really early? Have you not gone to sleep yet? You do get that little bit of concern.
Yeah.
But I think that is actually, when I think about one of the only other people from New York that I know here, she's the same way. It's like in that New York City
culture.
Blood, because it's a city that never sleeps. Yeah. So you truly are born that way to never sleep.
It's not that's what I've figured out. It's pretty cultural because New York, you can come out of a play at 10:30 at night or 11 and go to dinner.
And go to dinner. No, that is so common. No, I remember the last trip I went to New York. Yeah, my cousin is wanting to have dinner at like 11:30 at night. And I'm like, this is way past my bedtime. What are we doing?
Right here, you can't find it at 8 o'clock, much less 11 o'clock. It's pretty hard to find at 8 o'clock. And so it's, so I went from New York to Vegas. That was my my first job, right? Was in Las Vegas, so more of that. I've been to DC a couple of times. I like it so much. I lived there a couple of times. DC is pretty late. They don't like to get up in the morning. And so
a meeting before 10, no thank you.
No, because they're up doing their paperwork right at 2 a.m. or having their strategy sessions and all of that stuff. I don't want to do that anymore. Somebody asked me, I remember when Obama go, "Oh, you going back?" No, I don't need any more pizza at 1 a.m. Because they're always in those little offices and those little cubicles working on stuff. So like, no, I don't do that. And so there was a very interesting study that came out recently, and I've been writing about that say all of these billionaire guys, they all get up at 4:30 in the morning. So I thought, well, that's interesting. Why don't you look at the people who stay up till 4:30? I'm sure they didn't study them, but anyway.
Right.
But so maybe it's just that morning thing that's good, because it's been successful for me, but if I go to bed at 3, and then I'd like to get up at 10. So like during the pandemic, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could. The pandemic, you could accommodate any style that you want to have. And so mine was staying up. And depending where you are, in the old days, Perry Mason used to come on at like 1 a.m. and like I watch all Perry Masons and things like that. But for me, it's good because it's quiet. No emails coming in. Emails going out. I said, but to me, that's the value of people. I got an email from you at 3. Well, you didn't read it at 3 a.m., did you? Right? So that's the point of email, that you can get it at any time and read it at any time you want to or not. And then I tell people, there's a little button that says, do not disturb, that you push on your phone.
Yeah, that's very true.
Because believe me, I'm not going to call you at 3 a.m. because that's my quiet time in the morning. Between midnight and 2 is my perfect time of day. So I'm not calling anybody, doing anything but working on myself. Excellent. So that's good. But you guys have to accommodate a lot of different
Well, I got
styles.
little kids too. So,
yes, right.
That's a whole other scenario. It's accommodating for kids. But
Yeah. I know I can call kid people early in the morning.
Early morning, late at night normally, just about anything in between. Because, we're either finally having time to ourselves or, are tending to kids. It's everything.
But it's good. Yes, I missed the kids thing. I had so many kids. I didn't even want my own. But anyway, I've always had kids programs. So, and I worked with the Bureau. Well, we established a program with Disney. It's back when Disney liked kids. When Disney did more with kids than they do now. But so it was a urban camping program. And so I had all those kids. Here I had the youth sports, 8 to 18-year-olds. It's like, I feel like I've had a lot of kids. Without the hassles.
You had like how I feel with dog people. I want to see your dog. I want to play with your dog. But your dog just pooped, so I'm not going to deal with that. You deal with that dog.
Yeah. That's the other thing. People, how do you do it? I used to breed and show dogs. People say, what did you not do? It's
My goodness.
Well, I have a lot of things that I did. But now I'm retired from that too. So I just have Poodle, Ari, who has 5 books on Amazon. He has more books on Amazon than I do. but he's very happy.
He should come on a podcast show. We should interview him sometime.
Yes, he would
hear about those books. Yeah.
He loves people. He's very strange. He runs women more than men, but he runs up to you and then he lays on his back.
He's a ladies' man. He knows what to do.
Yeah, and he lays on his back. Okay. I'm ready. Rub my belly. He's very good at that. And he's good with kids. So his book. I'm going to have to start promoting his book. I haven't had time.
Well, we should definitely plan for him to come back, and you should bring the books, and we'll
that
talk
would be
about
fun.
that.
That would be
really
fun.
Yeah.
He would enjoy that. Right?
Excellent. If we need to have a sit-in child to hold on, to the dog, we could plan that too.
Exactly.
I'm sure James would be more than happy with that.
Right. Well, how old is your kid? How's he?
He's five, almost 5 and a half.
See, perfect age for Harry.
Oh yeah, and he's very we have cats, so he's very gentle.
Okay,
and things. And so,
that's really good.
Yeah,
cats. I grew up with cats. My mom was a cat person.
Yeah,
but I'm allergic to them, so I figured because I grew up with them.
You just gotta take allergy medicine. That's what I do. You start feeling those itchy eyes. You're about to scratch your eyes out. Just take some allergy medicine. It's okay.
Right. It's so funny because I like cats. I can be around them for an hour. After an hour, I feel.
Yes.
Start to bulge.
It happens. It's worth it though.
No, it's not. Well, now they have the what are they called? Hypoallergenic cats. But they're sort of ugly now.
I get the get from a rescue as cheap as possible cat.
Oh, yeah. Cats. I mean, cats are fascinating. I love them. Their minds are so different. And people say I hate cats. How can you hate cats? Cats have all different personalities.
Yeah, that's
right. It's like saying, well, people say they hate dogs too. So anyway, but
every dog's different too.
It's
saying you hate people, and it's well, every person's different.
Right.
They just hate to hate or love to
hate.
hate.
That's right. So and people may have suggestions for me about that. So I have this hate series, right?
Yeah, you have the hate series.
The series, and I think, well, maybe that's too crude for people. Maybe I should name it something else. But it's true. People say that. They say they hate millennials.
You need that trigger. You need something very triggering to add the inquiry. So how can people stay connected with you? Because you do 1.5 million things.
Okay.
And so how is it that people can stay connected and be in the know about what you're doing?
What they're doing. I would say my general email that covers all of those is D Meridith. And I had to spell it for someone today. So it's DMeridith. So it's spelled differently. Most Meridiths are Mere. So I tell people I have 2 I's. So it's Meridith at me.com. And my phone number for the parents thing, which is coming up first, so I want people to call me about that. That'll be going, is 480-790-1365. And the website for that, as I mentioned, is www.wishihadknown.net. And a lot of information on there, too. So I really appreciate this opportunity I had. So.
Thank you for being here. And just to end it, what would be, if you were to recommend either a tale to watch or listen to or read, what's your favorite tale you've ever heard or read or watched?
Tale, oh my goodness. Oh, that's tough. This is it's not a tale. It's Disney. Okay, I'm a Disney file. So 101 Dalmatians is my all-time favorite Disney thing, and The Cat in the Hat. If I had to pick my 2 favorite books through life, it's The Cat in the Hat and 101 Dalmatians.
My son's first Halloween costume was Cat in the Hat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And again, I'm not for this canceling stuff. They're going after this guy. His books were fabulous for kids.
Amazing.
Fabulous.
My first books I've ever read myself, too.
Yeah. And, and I've made fun of Harry Potter series. What excited me about the Harry Potter series, and I read every single book. Those are big books. I read every single book. What excited me about that is you saw kids reading. Actually sitting and reading. We hadn't had that in a long time before Harry Potter, and maybe haven't had it since, but I think anything that you can get, anytime you can get a kid to read, because I'm so concerned about us losing literacy altogether. Get a kid to read is great. And so that's why Ari's books are 15-minute books. And his website is readtokids.us. They're 15 minutes books. And what I say is I encourage parents and grandparents to read to kids, 3 to 6-year-olds, 15 minutes a day.
Okay.
If you have time for Pilates, you have time to read to your child.
Time to go to Starbucks. You have time to get,
Exactly. So that's good too. But I appreciate the opportunity you've given.
Yes.
And it's been fun. And we will continue to work together as well.
Excellent. I look forward to it. So everyone, enjoy life a little bit more, but get focused and do things and read.
And read. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you for watching Tales with Taylor. Please make sure you like and subscribe to the Financial Potion YouTube channel to never miss an episode.